Howdy everybody, this is Chris McKee coming at you live from Alamo Music. Well, not live, it's live now, but it won't be live when you watch because we'll be doing an editing function, but you know what I mean. Coming at you from Alamo Music Center in San Antonio, Texas. You can find us on the web at alamomusic.com and all the normal social media places, as well right here on YouTube, where we hope you subscribe to our videos. We're shooting a new space here right above Main Avenue downtown in our beautiful historic building. So come by and visit us sometime if you are in the area. If you're here locally in San Antonio, we would love to see you. We're doing a cool video today. We have a lineup of acoustic guitars here. I know it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it, and it falls into me to bring you a great selection of acoustic guitars under $300. Let's do that one more time. Acoustic guitars under $300. And yes, if it's $299.99, that qualifies. So we've got a great selection. These are all budget-conscious guitars. These are great for either someone who is a seasoned player looking for a good guitar on a budget, or someone who's just starting out. So we're going to go through a bit of the features and talk about how much guitar you can get, how much bang for your buck you can get. Now, keep in mind as we're talking about pricing that pricing is subject to vary. So always go to our website, alamomusic.com, and check to see what the latest price is on the guitars, as it can change. I will say this before we get started. It's never been a better time to buy a guitar. With the implementation of CNC machines, the tighter tolerances that are available in factories all over the world, the great materials that are being used, and the designs that have come through, you can get a whole lot of guitar for your money. I mean, a whole lot of guitar. So, we're not talking about warped necks and things that may have been from yesteryear when you bought an import guitar. These are going to be well-playing, great-sounding guitars at a just cherry price. So, without any further ado, let's get started. So starting from the lowest price guitar that we have going up, this is Yamaha's FG Junior guitar. Now Yamaha's FG line of folk guitars, although I like to think of them as foreign guitars, it reminds me of the Toyota FJs back in the day, and that's a whole nother discussion. These have been a popular line. The FG guitars, like we've done videos on, the 800s, the 830s, the 820s, some of which are here in the mix today, have long been popular. This is Yamaha's option in the 3/4 size guitar, and it has a brother, a little bit older brother, that has a sunburst finish on it. They both come with gig bags. This guy right now starts at $134.99 without tax or shipping or anything. That's US dollars, greenbacks, bucks, dinero. If you are outside the US watching this, then the price can vary. We can ship just about anywhere, so if you have questions, let us know. But this is a great guitar, particularly for students. We sell a lot of these to parents whose children are starting out a guitar and they are just not yet tall enough to handle or manage a full-size guitar. So at 3/4 size, it's the same size as a Little Martin or a Baby Taylor at a fraction of the price. Now, it is an all-laminate guitar. That's a laminate top, back, and sides. What does that mean? It's important to know that because we're going to deal with that in this price range. Laminate is what it sounds like. It's like plywood. Okay, it's not quite as coarse as plywood, but it is multiple layers of wood that are glued together. Why do guitar makers use this? Well, they use it in an affordable guitar for a number of reasons. One, it's easy to work with. Two, it's not as subject to temperature and humidity. And three, they can make large sheets of it with nice veneers and whatnot at a fraction of the cost of what it would take to do the same thing in solid wood. If you're bending the back and side, you're not having to worry about a piece of rosewood breaking on you. The laminate's going to bend very nicely and hold its form very well. And it's pretty durable, okay? You have a guitar like this and you can take it about and it's going to take some abuse. Now, what's the downside to laminate? There is a downside, and that is that it's very stiff. So when used for the top, back, and sides of a guitar, you're trying to get 6 strings to vibrate that top. And when it is a laminate piece of wood versus a solid piece of wood, that stiffness, that strength to weight ratio that it has, is actually so much that it's not going to vibrate very much. It's also not going to age. So over time, it's not going to get better sounding like a solid wood instrument is going to. But you're going to get a great playing and sounding guitar for a lower price. So that's the whole idea behind laminate versus solid wood and the mixed construction that we're going to see in the lineup. This FG Junior guitar is fantastic. With its all laminate construction, it can take a beating, and if it's geared towards a child, well, that's going to be good. Another demographic from our store that buys this guitar are people who want to travel with their guitar, either musicians who are buskers or guys who just want to go camping with it, and they don't want to take something as precious as like even a baby Taylor, although I take mine camping. They want something that's lower cost, or that, you know, if it gets damaged, you know, it's not going to be a huge dent in their dollar, and you know, it will stand up to temperature and humidity changes because it's not solid wood. Now this is the 3/4 side. It's got a 1 1/16 inch nut. It's all synthetic bone, or synthetic nut and saddle. Rosewood fingerboard, rosewood bridge. It's got a nice toned top, tortoiseshell pickguard, and nondescript, unbranded kind of butterbean closed back tuners. All in all, it's a really good guitar for the money. So what does it sound like? Here we go. Okay, so the next guitar on our list is also from Yamaha. This is the Yamaha C40 classical guitar. This guitar comes as part of a package. The package, which we've reviewed before, but if you're not familiar with it, is basically a package where you get a guitar and you get essential accessories with it. With this package, you get the Yamaha C40 classical guitar, which is a laminate construction nylon string guitar. You get a gig bag. You get an extra set of nylon strings, a digital tuner, and a DVD with lessons on it. All of that for around $159. So it's a really good value. Now, I make no bones about it. Yamaha makes fantastic instruments. Their quality control is fantastic. The tolerances are very tight, and this is no exception. Now the same rules apply. It's all laminate guitar, so the top's not going to be quite as resonant as a solid body guitar or solid wood guitar would be. But it's got a great feel to it. Typically, a nylon neck's going to be wider. This is no exception. So you've got a 2-inch nut. You've got a flat radius, meaning there's no radius on the fretboard at all. A NATO neck and laminate construction with nylon strings. What does it sound like? Well, that's what we're here to find out. Huge value. If you are starting classical guitar lessons, let's say at like a community college or at your school or in private lessons, this is a really great place to start. So let's put it through its paces, shall we? So the next one on our list, number 3, is from Cordoba. This is a Cordoba Protege C1. This is a full-size guitar from Cordoba in the Protege line. They make full-size, 3/4, half, and quarter-size guitars in that lineup, and it's geared toward the student. Now you get a lot of guitar for your money. You get an all-laminate construction Cordoba classical guitar. You also get a rather nice Cordoba gig bag with it. Now it's this typical classical guitar, 2-inch nut, flat neck, kind of wide. Now one of the things that Cordoba does that I like a lot is they kind of veer off from tradition a bit, and they install truss rods in these necks. Now if you're not familiar, a truss rod is common in steel string guitars. It's a rod that is in the neck under the fretboard that runs the length of it, and it has a nut on the end of it, either up by the headstock or in the sound hole. By tightening and loosening that nut, you can change the relief in the neck, how much curvature the neck has based upon the tension of the strings. So the nice thing about having that on a classical guitar is that over time, should the tension of the strings begin to pull the neck forward, you can actually tighten that truss rod down and bring that relief back down and adjust the action to suit. That's not common in classical guitars, and one of the features I like about Cordoba guitars. In general, their fit and finish, their build quality is fantastic as well. And these are two of the primary guitars that people look at when they're looking at it. It's either the Yamaha we looked at a moment ago or this Cordoba for a beginning classical guitar. Now this is a little bit more than the Yamaha, and it does not come as part of a pack. The only accessory that you receive with it is a gig bag. but at $169, it's a huge value. It also comes with Ibanez strings, which are a rather nice string company that Cordoba happens to own as part of their music group, but they're really well made strings, and they're the strings that I use on all my classical guitars regardless of brand. So I like them a lot, and I think that's an added bonus that you get with the guitar. So again, huge bang for the buck. What does it sound like? Let's check it out. All right, moving up in our lineup, we have the fourth guitar is going to be Fender's DG-8S. Now, I should say the next few guitars are all going to be about the same price. The reason I'm starting with the DG-8S is because it comes as part of a pack, like the C40 Yamaha that we saw before. The DG-8S pack from Fender is a great value, and I've reviewed it before because of that. So in the pack, you get the DG-8S Dreadnought guitar. It's a solid spruce top guitar, laminate mahogany back and sides. It's a Dreadnought shape, which is your typical acoustic guitar shape. It comes with scalp spruce bracing, synthetic Graphtec nut and bone, rosewood bridge, fingerboard, and mahogany neck, and some nondescript, probably pink branded tuners. In the pack, you also get a gig bag, strap, picks, strings, tuner, and a code for an app with free lessons, kind of beginner lessons that are involved in it. So for $199, which is how much this pack goes for, you get a huge value, a lot of bang for the buck, because not only do you get all of the accessories like you would in another pack, but you get those accessories in a pack that comes with a solid top guitar. So this is the first solid top guitar we've seen on our list so far. What does that mean? So it means because it's not laminate, it's going to cost a little bit more for the builder to produce. They have to be aware of temperature and humidity in the factory environment, and it takes care in building it with the guitar so it doesn't break and so forth. It's also going to have more resonance to it. It's also over time going to age. It's going to open up as those sugars kind of cure and some of it evaporates, and the whole guitar gets just a bit more resonant and lively, fuller, deeper, more robust. So this is a guitar that you can buy at a low price point, and it can age with you. It has great setup, great feel, they play very well, they have a good build quality. In other words, it's really hard to go wrong in buying a pack with a guitar that's this good. So at $199, it's starting off our category in this price range because it's not just the guitar, which means effectively the guitar is cheaper than the others that we're about to see. Now the question still holds, what does it sound like? Well, let's give it a listen. All right, next on our list is also from Fender. Now, you might be mistaken in believing that I'm holding the guitar I was just holding, and you would be forgiven for thinking so because aesthetically they look very different. Feature-wise, they're still very, let's start that over. We're going to start that over because I don't know what the hell I was just saying. All right. Next one on our list is also from Fender. This is the CD-140S. Now, if you're thinking that looks a lot like the guitar I was just holding, you'd be forgiven for thinking so. They look a lot alike, and feature-wise, they are very similar. Guess what? They also happen to be the same price. This one, however, does not come in a pack. Now, why are they so similar and at the same price, but with one you get accessories and the other you don't? Well, there's a few differences with the CD-140S that add to the quality of the guitar. It's still a solid spruce top with scalloped bracing. It's laminate mahogany back and sides. It's got a mahogany neck. They've added a rosewood veneer on the headstock that is aesthetically nicer but doesn't really do anything for the tone. Where it does differ is in the nut and saddle material. Whereas the previous one had a man-made Graphtec nut, Fender has actually decided to fit this $200 guitar with a bone nut and saddle. I'm going to say that again. Fender has decided to fit this $200 guitar with a bone nut and saddle. Now that's really a nice feature. That's something that you typically see only on higher end guitars. If you're asking, does that really matter? The answer is yes. It does matter. It's going to matter when it comes to the tuning, stability. Basically, are the strings going to bind up in the nut very often? Probably not, because of the bone. As well as the tone. Paul Reed Smith has made a great effort in a recent TED Talk to demonstrate the different tonal characteristics of nut materials. It matters what you put on a guitar. It will translate to the sound that the strings get overall. Basically, a guitar is all part of a functioning system, and so if you change something, it's going to improve it, and guitar manufacturers have known this for a long time. That's why something like a bone nut and saddle is something you would only see on higher end guitars. So otherwise, the construction is very similar, the tuners are very similar. It's all a very, very similar guitar. A little bit of an improvement in some of the materials allows you to get a guitar, again, at a really great price point. Good volume, good tone, good quality, $200. So what does this sound like compared to the DG-8S? Well, let's listen to it. Okay, continuing in the lineup of $200 guitars now, we have another 3/4 size guitar to add to the foray. This is from Ibanez and part of their Artwood series. This is actually called the AW54 Mini. It's part of their Artwood, it's an Artwood dreadnought body guitar. It's 3/4 size like the Yamaha we saw before. Some of the benefits of this though is that first and primarily, it's got a solid top. It's a solid top of mahogany. It's an open pore satin finish all throughout, and like the other guitars in this line, in this series from Ibanez, it's understated. It's got kind of a vintage vibe going along with it, and it is very, very resonant. It's got a nice, rich, deep tone to it. Now, size-wise, aesthetically, and construction-wise, it's very similar to some more expensive guitars from some American builders, but at a fraction of the cost. So at $200, it's a great, great guitar. You've got a 1 11/16 nut. You've got rosewood fingerboard, rosewood bridge, mahogany top, laminate mahogany back and sides, chrome, probably ping tuners, and a really just good aesthetic. My one complaint about this guitar is that unlike the Yamahas and unlike the Taylor and Martin guitars and some other guitars that are 3/4 size, Ibanez does not include a gig bag with this guitar, and I think personally that's a bit of an oversight because, well, 3/4 size gig bags are not as plentiful as full-size gig bags are, and so sometimes it might be difficult to find a bag that will fit this guitar. Nevertheless, at $200, it's an incredible guitar for the money, particularly if you're looking for a 3/4 size guitar to be A, a child's first guitar, or B, a great guitar for traveling. This will sit beside many campfire and make beautiful music until the coyotes howl. That's a Texas saying, and if it's not, I just made it up. What does it sound like? Let's give it a listen. This is Yamaha's FS800. This is the last guitar in our lineup that's at $200. Actually, at $199.99 based upon current prices, this is one of the most fantastic values of any guitar on the market that is available in a small body. Most of the guitars that are steel string that we've looked at so far have been dreadnought bodies. And a dreadnought is a great shape. Martin invented it back in the day. It's robust, it's got a big sound, but it's also a large guitar and it's not for everybody. So those who are more petite in stature or simply just desire a smaller body guitar are often at a loss for the available guitars on the market in a good price range. This fills that void. The FS800 is the folk body size from Yamaha, basically similar to a triple O body or an auditorium body size. It's solid spruce top, laminate NATO back and sides, NATO neck, rosewood fingerboard and bridge, chrome ping tuners. I make no apologies. I love these guitars. The entire FG range was redesigned for 2016, moving from the 700 nomenclature to the 800 series. So this is the first in that series. It's available in this folk body size as well as a dreadnought shape, if that is what flicks your pick. And it sounds great. It feels good. These are some of the best sounding guitars for the money that honestly we have in the store. They're huge values. We love them a lot. So the FS800 is where we're starting at. We're also going to be looking at some of its older siblings and some of the options available on this guitar that all fall within this under $300 price range. Let's hear what the FS800 sounds like first. Oh look, it's another Yamaha. How did that happen? It's because they make great guitars at a really, really great price. So this one is the FG820. We were just looking at the FS800. This is the bigger dreadnought body shape from Yamaha and just the next step up from the 800. The 820 has basically the same construction, laminate back and sides, solid spruce top with scalloped bracing, which is new for this year, rosewood fingerboard, bridge, and so forth. The changes to this one are that the back and sides are laminate mahogany rather than NATO, and it has cream ivory binding around the body as well as along the front board. The next step up from this is the 830 series, which also still comes in at under $300. This one is $269.59. Survey says $59.99. So $260 is the next step up from the 800 to this. From $200 to $260 gets you some nicer aesthetics basically, and then the top of that range in this body shape before you start moving on to even nicer woods is the 830. That adds basically an abalone rosette binding up around the headstock as well, and rosewood back and sides. They're fantastic guitars. We listened to the folk body, now let's hear the dreadnought size. All right, we're approaching the end, and at this point we've gotten up right under the $300 price point. Coming in at $299.99 is this Artwood series guitar with a snark tuner. Let's try that again. Okay. All right, rounding out our series at the top of our price point at $299.99 is this guitar from Ibanez. It is part of their Artwood series. This is the AC240, sorry. Basically, it's their Artwood mahogany topped OM style guitar. These are fantastic. Like we said with the 3/4 size guitar, their Artwood series is really nice. The mahogany top on this is solid. It's got a really nice warm tone to it, and the aesthetic is killer. It gives you this kind of black binding, old school, warm, vintage vibe in a nice new guitar that plays really well, sounds great, and doesn't break the bank. So, you know, really, how can you go wrong? One of the nice things I like about this guitar is the addition of inlaid abalone rosettes, the aesthetic. With the mahogany top, it just really pops. It's just an added feature. And again, at just under $300, it's a lot of guitar for the money. It's really hard to go wrong. One of the nice things about a mahogany top guitar that I love, that I've talked about before, is the fact that there's kind of a natural compression. It makes it very well suited for certain types of music, particularly blues. So let's give it a listen to and see what you think. Okay, topping our list is another Yamaha. This is the Yamaha's FSX800C. Now it has a sibling in the lineup, the FG820C. Now up until this point, all of the guitars that we have played so far have been simply acoustic. At this price point with this model, we move into an acoustic electric guitar. So it's construction-wise just like the FS800 I played earlier. It's laminate back and sides. It's got a solid spruce top with scalloped bracing. Basically all of the materials are the same. Where it differs is that it has a cutaway body style and it comes equipped with a pickup system. This pickup system is proprietary to Yamaha. It's an under-saddle pickup with a preamp in the side that also incorporates an onboard tuner. So if you are playing at a coffee shop or at church, or you want to be in a place where you can amplify your guitar, maybe you don't need to right now, but you fall into the camp that believes it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. This is the guitar that I would recommend at this price point. For under $300, this is one of the best acoustic electric guitars available today. And I'll be honest with you, when someone comes in looking for one, this is one of the first guitars I take them to in this price range, because it's really, really hard to beat value-wise. Acoustically, it's going to sound a lot like the FS800. We're going to go ahead and put it through its paces, but where the benefit really is in this wizardry right here, that you can go up to any stage, that you can plug into an amp, and that you can perform amplified with everything that's built in right here, and have a tuner on board to boot. Listen, a tuner on board is nice to have, whether you're playing in front of a lot of people or you're just sitting on the couch at home. So let's put it through its paces and see what you think. So I hope you liked our video of the top 10 guitars under $300 in our opinion that you can get. We stock all of these guitars. They're available for sale. So if you are getting into guitar, if you are in your mode of discovering music, contact us. We'll like to find you the perfect guitar that suits your needs at the right price point. If you believe that we left any guitars out, or you believe that some of these guitars shouldn't be in this list, let us know. Comment below. If you have experience with some of these guitars and you just think those are fantastic, let us know as well. And don't forget to subscribe to our videos so you can see all the latest and greatest guitars that we have coming your way. Thanks for watching.